Well, hey everybody, it's Reverend Tim here with my vlog. So I have been thinking throughout the day about the word, the concept, the reality of God. And I've been thinking about God because yesterday someone asked me a question. They said, uh, is it true that Unitarian Universalists don't even believe in God? And I had to say, no, that's actually not true. I said there are Unitarian Universalists who have a belief in a traditional God. There are Unitarian Universalists for whom God isn't part of how they make meaning. There are Unitarian Universalists who do believe in a higher power, but maybe call it something different than that word God. They may call it source, infinite love, fuente de amor, spirit of life. So God is certainly welcome in Unitarian Universalism. The belief in God is certainly welcome. It's not required. So I've been thinking about God and that word. I'm remembering what one of my spiritual teachers, my great spiritual teacher, Yogi Bhajan, once said. He said, God is G period, O period, D period. God is the generating, ordering, and destroying spirit or energy or experience of life. So I love that. It's that cycle of birth and then the ordering and giving it shape and form, and then the dissolution. And that experience, that inherentness that is in life is what God is. There's a really wonderful quote by the delightful writer and insightful writer and heartfelt writer Anne Lamott. She said, "You can safely assume that you've created God in your own image when it turns out that God hates all the same people you do." Another perspective, this comes from the great Persian poet Hafiz. I was lucky to sit at his grave in Iran when I was there and hear some of his poetry recited in Persian. This is an English translation. Hafiz. Every child has known God, not the God of names, not the God of don'ts, not the God who ever does anything weird, but the God who knows 4 words only and keeps repeating them, saying, "Come dance with me. Come dance." One more about God. This comes from the Unitarian Universalist minister and musician Glenn Thomas Rideout. It's called After All. It's a little long, but I really love how he is wrestling with God. And so Glenn Thomas Rideout writes, "God is no noun, and certainly not an adjective. God is at least a verb, and even that shrinks her. God is not so much a woman as she resides in the improbable hope of brown mothers. God is not so much a man as he is at work in the memory of my grandfather's laugh. God is not trans. God swims in the tears of the one who sees her real self at long last in the bathroom mirror. God is not black, neither is he white. God is wading in the contradiction of songs from slave shacks. And I have seen God in the alabaster smiles of children at play. We're getting Michelangelo all wrong. God is not the bearded one surrounded by angels floating over the Sistine. He is not Adam with his muscled back pressing the earth. No, God is the closing inch of space between their reaching fingers. Don't believe for a moment that God is Catholic. For God's sake, he isn't even human. For have you heard the wood thrush when the sun glistens the Huron? Can you see the flowers, how they speak to bees without a word? Still, God is no spring blossom, no wood thrush. God is neither the sun nor the bee. God is when you hear the river and suddenly discover how much of it is part of you. To be clear, God is not you. God is somewhere in the 14 billion years which have come to mean that you are. God is, after all, at least a verb. She is neither Pharaoh's rod nor Moses' staff. We must be the ones to cease our slavery. She is not interested in blame, neither does she offer praise. Truth, gratitude are ours to breathe. She will not have your answers. She is too large for answers and dances too wildly to be fastened to them. And answers are nouns, anyways. God is at least a verb, twirling in the radiant reds of spring blossoms, singing in the rare silences between rapid questions, attending the tears of dark-skinned deaths, learning in tiny alabaster smiles. God is waiting in the space between fingers that might connect. He is waiting for us to stop naming her. She is waiting for us to see all of him. God is waiting to be unshrunk. God is waiting to be unshrunk. Bye. See you soon.